Peace, everyone. This is Dre with Brothers United Leadership Development, Build 206, and we're here with another episode of our Build Black Wealth program. We're interviewing members of our incubator program where we invested $1,000 in 20 black-led businesses and organizations, and also we'll be interviewing some of our facilitators of some of our workshops. And today I'm joined from the Lady Scribe, from Seattle Sound Music Awards. And we go way back. You guys actually honored us years ago, and we really, really appreciate it. I think that was 2016.
Yes, it was 2016, I believe, too. Hard Rock Cafe.
Yes, it was popping.
And it was just a beautiful moment, a beautiful time.
Yes, it was. Well, our whole team had a great time. So thank you for taking the time to join us, and we're going to just jump in and ask you a few questions. It's like I said, It's just a conversation, and we're here with community.
Sir.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Real quick, sorry, when you come back, when you jump into that part, tell us a little about yourself, but you need the mic a little bit down.
All right.
I lowered it a little bit and I still started peaking.
All right.
Okay.
All right, we're going to jump into these questions.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the industry that you're in?
Well, by day, I am a publicist. I'm also an event planner and travel agent. So I realized early on with public relations and journalism, I wasn't really getting paid in the front. You know, you get paid on the back end. So I'm like, shoot, this last minute travel, is a thing. It's a monster. So It was a no-brainer, especially starting to book, travel and planning all these events for our clients and stuff. So it was like, let me just incorporate that into what we do here. Because at the time, there wasn't any black PR firms here representing, especially our stories at the time.
So explain a little bit about what you do in that realm.
Okay, my background is journalism, communication. I was pretty much the reason why Cube 93 at the time, Ackerley, hired their first black voice jockey. So we put the pressure on. Like I literally was putting the pen to the paper, writing, boycotting, letting them know, hey, you're right down on Lakeview, what's good? Like, I want you guys to be able to come right up the street to Jackson, be a part of the Black Community Festival, show your face. The language started changing a bit. So when you think about public relations, you're thinking about branding, you're thinking about marketing, you're thinking about your brand personality. So their brand personality was changing because I was, into George Michael and Debbie Gibson and, everybody else was listening to K-Fox. But then all of a sudden I'm like, hey girl, go girl. I'm like, wait, y'all black people down there? Not at all. Just our lingo, and I felt that you can't have that without having us there. We needed representation.
Right.
And it changed the game for Q.
That's what's up, man. That's amazing. Did you always want to work in this industry, like growing up? Is this something that you kind of just fell into, or did you always kind of want to be in this lane, or what?
I have a love affair with music. I got that thing bad. I tell my kids, my oldest now, like he reminds me all the time because he has a baby now, I have a grandson. And he's like, Mom, remember you told me my big brother was music, like my first relationship, your first, my first everything was music. I said, yes, I remember I told you that. He said, that's mine too. And I just love to see that because it was just a way for me to be able to be expressive. I didn't used to be this expressive. I was an introvert, nothing but, it's not you, it's me, And then when you get trampled over so much, it's like, I'm here, right? So I'm a spoken word artist. I write, I do poetry, and that's what translated into just the journalism because when it was that same authenticity, when I say it's off the record, it's off the record.
Right.
And when black artists and entertainers used to come here because they used to come here, y'all. They didn't pass over us, go to, from Oregon to Vancouver. They actually would have tour stops here.
Right.
And they didn't see any of us, and especially in media.
Right.
And I did a lot of damage control. I did a lot of, making sure they had some soul food, home cooked meals, got a chance to see the community, get out of the downtown area or Bellevue area.
Right.
And with that, they're like, you should think about public relations because we need someone in that realm, that's trustworthy, that can actually keep positive messages going. And I wasn't interested in being a Wendy Williams. We already had her. I don't find no pleasure in tearing nobody down. So
Right.
I wanted to share our stories, the positive ones that we are just now beginning to see just a little bit of.
Right. Dope. What motivated you or continues to continue to work that you do, and like who or why? You shared a little bit about like your grandchild and the community and stuff like that, but I want to give you an opportunity to like who and what do you do it for?
That would be my mother and my family and my father. Rest in peace. Today's his heavenly birthday. But my mom was the first black modeling agency in the Pacific Northwest. She was located at 2214 South Jackson Street, right where they have done, the rebuild with the gentrification,
Right.
It's difficult for her to even go down there anymore, down the block. But I remember coming from Garfield, even when I was at Washington walking over there. She was there for 30 years next to Fanny's Boutique and Fat Mama's, on the corner. And just to see their hustle, I remember, seeing politicians come through, they would rally, for our votes, but it was a trickle down process. Those
Right.
monies never came back through. I remember her giving her last, and I used to tell her, like, what are you doing? This person, if they're going to Barbizon and if they're going to these other businesses, they're not going asking for food,
Right.
and they're not going asking for, $10 for Pampers. Or I used to be so mad because we didn't have it.
Right.
And then she would be like, because they can't. But they can here, and that's the difference. And so when I just learned so much from her and her love of community and her grace, I'm still working on the grace part, but, because I wear my heart on my sleeve, so
Right.
I'm a little bit more vocal than her. But just her grace and her love of community, of her people, and not, it's her integrity. And I always wanted to do that. And I used to say, oh, you know what, Mom, whatever, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to be in LA. I'm going to go, New York or something. And here I am still in Seattle. Got this love affair with the town, too. Everything I told her I didn't want her to do, I did,
Right.
and still do. And she can gladly say, I told you so, So that's really it. And, yeah, my family, my kids, they already know. Like, it's a legacy here. I want to make sure that all of her hard work, everything that we've put in, doesn't die in vain.
Yeah, and I heard you say this is the anniversary of your father's passing, so I want to acknowledge that, and I appreciate you coming and spend
Thank
time with
you.
us on that day. I know those anniversaries are difficult at times, so I appreciate you making time to come.
That's
be
why
a
it was
part
so
of the community.
important
Yes, thank,
to be here.
yes, thank you. And it
Yeah.
sounds like the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree from what your mom was doing and the legacy that
Thank
she
you.
built and what you're trying to build for the next generation and
Yes,
so
sir.
on and so forth. So big up to moms for the
Yeah,
work that
thank
she
you
was
so
doing. And
much.
really, and like you said, we don't gotta operate how everybody else operates is what I heard you say. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, they don't have to go there, but they can come here because this is a
Yeah.
community. So we're gonna help each other out.
When people see charcoal, it's like they run. We could be in the grocery store, the doctor's office, we could be at an event, and they will share stories of. And I'm like, I get people who say some things about me too, but the depth of what they say
Right.
of her impact in their lives it's just incredible, and I want that. I don't want to just be here to be here. It's only a handful of us here in Western Washington, so we got to make sure that, for me, I don't want my kids to feel like they have to leave to LA or
Right.
go, to New York or Atlanta.
Right.
They feel like their creativity and their growth is strangled here.
Right.
So with that, it's like, what can we do to see them graduate, go to college here, and really pour back into the town? What can we do to make them stay?
Yeah, and put the roots down here. So I know it sounds like you've been involved with a lot with your family and just on your own journey, but describe your journey towards success and what has been some of the biggest lessons learned.
Ooh, my journey towards success would be the revelations of like material things and money, and that used to be it. Like, I'm not talking, I don't want to, like, my time, like, you got to pay me, even though I've done so many different things, for free or bartering, because,
Right.
but it was just the focus. The focus was like, the money, I got to get the money, I got to get this. And then I realized that after the chase, it's like you're drained. You don't have any energy. Like, you could be there with your family, but not really present. Like, I'm there, I'm working from home, but I'm not approachable.
Right.
And that wasn't success to me. The other part of it was because I always said that I wanted to make sure that I would do the same as my mom, work for myself, but it was for my time. Because having children, I didn't want to have to ask the boss, can I go? My son, needs me at school, or he got hurt, or I can't, I'm not asking permission for that.
Right.
I'm going to go. So I don't want to let nobody down either. They want some good workers. Yeah, I'm not them. I'm not 2 weeks in. I'm not going to give you no warning.
Right.
I'm out, So, with that, it's like, that's what changed to me. It wasn't a tangible thing that success was. It's no longer buying the house and doing this. It's really being able to have the time with my family, do what I want with my time, with my family,
Right.
on my own terms, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Now I can do the rest of the stuff,
Right.
team buy mama a house. Now I can do that. But prior to that, I wasn't even in the frame of mind God wouldn't even have blessed me with that, because I wouldn't have been able to really value it.
Right, and that's part of what we're doing with this initiative is with Build Black Wealth is really to have conversations around, create spaces to have conversations. So we do a number of different types of workshops, and one of the themes have been, it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's really what you do with it, right?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And what decisions you make can have long-term or short-term impacts, but then understanding, kind of breaking down like the socialization that's gone on with what they tell us we should value. And it sounds like you're getting to the point, or you are at the point, where it's more about peace,
Yeah.
respect, joy, happiness, and those types of things, and
absolutely.
everything else is going to kind of fall in line. But it's so hard in the system that we're in of capitalism, where it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we got to pay bills, we got to
Oh, yeah.
feed the family, we got to do this, do that, and then sometimes people overvalue, like you said, the
Yeah.
material stuff, and that's been pushed on us as a people a lot too. So it's hard to build wealth or make
Yeah.
proper investments that you may not see the fruits from, like buying a home or buying stocks or investing, or hey, I'm going to make sure my credit's straight instead of just doing what I want to do when I
Yeah.
want to do it. So I appreciate you sharing that journey that you're going through, and it's dope that you're at the point, because now your kids and other folks around you are going to
Yeah.
see what you're doing.
Thank you. I seen, especially now, even though they say it's post-COVID, I really see the impact of COVID in my life and the lives of the creatives that we work with the Seattle Sound Music Awards. I was trying to rally up and help with, whatever the resources was over these last 2 years that they would need, and, was able to help some folks. But I really see that people are taking their bills and the worry and the pressure of that to heart. I've seen so many, young men, young women contemplating suicide, even attempting suicide. And I'm like, yo, I really appreciate my, my landlord or whatever, but I'm not going to take my life.
Right.
Like, come on, like, work with me, I'm good, but let me give me some time so I can relocate or whatever, but that's not worth your life.
Right.
Light bills and water and all that, it's a shame that we have to even pay what we have to pay in Seattle for water.
For sure.
But at the same time, it's not worth your life. And so when you realize that you're more than what you do, when you're more than what you can provide for anyone, then that's when you can really see, your calling, your purpose, and what you want to put your time into. Because otherwise, you're really going to suck the life out of yourself.
Right.
And I'm seeing young people, I'm talking, 18, 19, barely in their 20s even, with the pressures of the world on their shoulders. And I have no understanding. I don't even understand how we got here outside of the influence of social media. I really don't understand how they are so pressured and down and depressed, and, why. I want to get to the root of why they feel like they can't come talk to us.
Yeah.
What is holding them back, because we're here. You guys are actually in the, streets really doing the work, in
Yeah.
the schools, and, even, helping the young entrepreneurs, helping us really, get our business together. It's one thing to be in business, it's another one to do it.
Right.
And there's so many things when it comes to the administrative part of business, where that's where I'm getting to, because I'm the, I'm on the ground, I'm going to get it, and then I'm relying on other people to do it. But now I'm learning about the taxes and, like you said, and credit, and I'm doing, the legacy work,
Right.
when it comes to the life insurance and stuff like that. But realistically, our children, this generation doesn't care.
Right.
They don't even care about themselves, because, like I said, they don't value life. And whatever the reason is, even with our arms wide open, they feel like they can't come talk to us. And I'm just trying to figure out
Yeah, and
what that is.
what I'll add to that space is the kids are reflections of adults, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The society, you know, they're not learning the behaviors that they learn from themselves. It's being taught. And I can even speak in this for me growing up. Like I was so in a rush to try to grow up. I want to be grown.
Yeah.
And now I'm grown. It's like I want to be a kid again, right?
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
yes.
So it's just amplified now in the amount of connection they got and action to like phones and social media and stuff. Sometimes you throw stuff out there, it's never coming back. You know, you
Yeah.
can do things that can never come back. But really, like I said, it breaks down to, I mean, you even talked about your journey, right? It really comes down to self-worth, self-value, self-esteem.
Yep.
With a lot of it, and you know the decisions that are made, and so sometimes it's hard for folks. And like I said, sometimes some folks are available. I think some people are available, but I think some people aren't necessarily available
Yeah.
for the kids, or they expect kids to be grown-ups. And you know, we advocate just to allow kids to be kids. You know,
Yeah.
like my son's 14. It's like, hey man, you don't need a job. I mean, if you want to get a job
Yeah.
to get skills or whatever, but
Yeah.
sometimes we're pushing them into areas that they
Yep.
don't necessarily need to be at this point. They need to just be able to have fun, go to school, get their education. If they play sports, it shouldn't be for fun. We shouldn't be trying
Yeah,
to push.
right.
We shouldn't be trying to push like you're going to the league and making it overly stressful. Life is stressful enough. So I appreciate you shouting out the work that we're doing. There's a number of other people that are out there that have been doing work. I'm sure you're doing work. You know, that's really, you know, the essence of it.
The difference is a collective of black men. That is what it is, to be clear. So everybody understands the difference. There's a lot of people out here, and there's a lot of for themselves.
Yeah.
But as a collective, and to really have done it, how is it? 5 years? Is it?
Oh no, it's supposed to be 10 years in
Oh,
2023.
No, I'm saying as far as like I'm seeing more of the social media present, more of the like the meetings, getting like the community, like all the events.
Oh yeah, I mean it's we're growing.
Now, see, with that, like I'm seeing the response of other black men in the community,
Right.
you know, responding to that. And, you know, young black boys and athletes, all these guys are like, okay, you guys are leading by example.
Right.
And that's what I scream all the time is I just think about, like, I'm, if you follow me, you probably see some of my rants, because I'm like, we have a lot of black affluent here. And I always said, I feel like when they get here, they have to sign a silent little piece of paper that say, if you come here, you can't mess with your community. Now, you can go to the barbershop now.
Right.
You can go to the salon, but you can't mess with your community. You can't go to the events. You can't do none of that. You're over here at Sally's event now, okay? And that's where you're going to be. That's where you're going to raise your money, and that's where you're going to do your likeness at. It's crazy as many times if I see the smiles and take the selfies and, yes, we're going to work with you and all that, and then there's no reply to the emails, there's no none of this. For you guys to really take the time, not only for myself, but for other businesses. I didn't even know, you know, rest in peace, about the Postman until you guys had the incubator program.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To be able to bring 20 of our businesses, and we're here in the same, you know, city doing stuff, we really were able to connect, you know, in a way that I hadn't seen. Like, you guys really gave us life at a time where we was really trying to figure it out. You know, $1,000, that was like $1 million. You know, for real. I'm not playing.
Yeah, and I mean we talk about this and we talked about it earlier. It's the relationship piece, and you know, one of our members said that action could be distracting. Sometimes we're going out and trying to do stuff to help other people, but we are the work. Our community is the work. Us bringing people together, that's the work. Like, you know, and sometimes, you know, they really wanted this for that, you know, but realistically, us just breaking bread and spending time with each other, building relationships, we have a lot of knowledge and expertise that can build wealth. What we don't have is a lot of real authentic relationships to move those things around. So yeah, I appreciate the shout out. Definitely a team sport. But we really rock with each other, and that's part of what
That's
it is
exactly.
too. We really rock with each other. We really hit each other up. Hey, somebody's having a bad day, let's go grab some food. You know, I got questions about being a dad or whatever. So I mean, it's really authentic. We're really friends first, and then the work is secondary.
That's
you know what
a
I mean?
beautiful
So
thing.
right, and so it's like that's the model. Instead of us just coming together as a coalition to say, hey, we're going to go do transactions. No, we're going to be transformational, and transactions are going to come from that. So. Always appreciate the big ups. You've been big upping us for a long time. And with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're here with the lovely Lady Scribe. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Get informed about your rights as an employee working in the city of Seattle. Check out Build's labor law information at www.build206.com/labor standards today.
Welcome back, y'all. This is Dre with Brothers United Leadership Development. We're here with the Build Black Wealth podcast. We're here with one of our incubator program participants of the Build Black Wealth podcast, Lady Scribe. Welcome back. Thank you.
Thank
you for joining us. So let's jump back in. You talked about us a little bit about resources and things, but I really want you to share what resources you think are needed for others in our community to succeed and or start a business, thinking about entrepreneurship or running an organization or whatever. What resources do you feel is needed?
Well, I know with the previous mayor, I had a conversation with over the years. I wish it would have came to fruition, even with Tammy, I believe, councilwoman for District 2. I want the city and all of its vendors, all of their suppliers, to choose 100 black businesses, to start. I want to spearhead it. I don't want to hand it off to anyone. I want to be able to work with folks. I've said with every supplier you have in all of the different industries, give each business a $10,000 line of credit. We don't want the money. We don't want a grant. We want a line of credit where we can build with these individual suppliers. That means I can handle my construction, my build out. I can handle whatever I need when it comes to equipment, whatever, down to toiletries.
Right.
The same way they run City Hall and everything that they need in there to operate, everyone that they partner with, they can allow us to have a $10,000 or even $5,000 line of credit, get 100 black businesses and 100 suppliers and put us to work. Right. That right there, we're not using personal credit, so I don't want to hear about all that. We're going to go off the basis of, just like you would do a grant or whatever, the validity of that business, and just say, shoot, go get it, go handle it, do what you do. If you fail on your payments, then you're X'd out.
Right.
We need some tangible things. We also need to that's going to help us be able to leverage when it comes to real estate. We're not in a position to buy. We have no large, relationships with banks in this way, and this would instantaneously put us in a position to win versus give me a building or give me this or give one person something, trying to service all of these different people. No, we don't speak the same language. We don't have the same goals. This is something that could really be done, and I have yelled to the highest ceilings, but I believe they probably have done it internally for themselves. Maybe it's a pilot program. We don't know, and it will come to us. But seriously, that's what it is. And, I dedicate my 2023 to that, just going around to different businesses and asking, how much are you willing to give a black business a line of credit?
Right.
And it changed. If we don't have that tangible dollar in our pocket, but we know we can open up shop, there's no reason why we couldn't be successful and turn over that dollar.
Right.
But
that's a dope ideal. The one thing I would add is the education and mentor component. Because
yes.
Like you said, we don't want to just be like, oh, you default, you're out of there. We want to actually set you up to make sure you understand, hey, your taxes, hey, your bookkeeping, hey, and then if you choose not to engage in learning,
then that's it.
Then that's on you. But the problem is we've been excluded from learning this information to begin with. Sometimes our parents don't know it. The schools definitely aren't teaching it to us. And so we've been systematically excluded. That's part of why we're doing this Build Black Wealth initiative is I think, if you push this or continue to push this, I think making sure that mentorship, the education
Yes.
piece is there, because people got to learn how to cross the T's and
Absolutely.
dot the I's. Otherwise, they're going to default. And
Yep.
then it's gonna be like, oh, look,
Absolutely.
this is why we don't give you nothing.
Right,
That's how they do us.
absolutely. And definitely, I actually, was looking at two of the things that I had known more about what I want to implement in that was money management and time management.
Both critical.
Yeah, because I'm like, I came on time today. Like, I feel so good. You don't understand. Like, I really be having great intentions. My mom said it don't mean nothing. You show up early, you show up on time, you respect other people's time. She's always yelled that to me. But yeah, I'm horrible when it comes to time management. I am last minute, under the clock performer.
Right.
I get it done, but it's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be smooth. It's supposed to be easy.
Adds a lot of stress, right?
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. And then, of course, the money management too, and being able to, I found a few, Black bankers and some students at the UW, that are going into the finance world, understanding these NFTs and understanding the digital dollar too, and finding leverage in the meta space, so yeah, I definitely want to have those components in there, but I want to see if they're gonna do it. Are they gonna really do it? Because a lot of it, is they cut a lot of money out and they gave it to a lot of foolery over these years, but these same businesses that have been applying and being denied, like myself, are still here. So what do we do with that? But yeah, I just think it's a different way to look about how to inject, the 98118, 98178, area with some fuel that we can really see ourselves and feel like we're a part of this place, because every day it feels like we're being erased.
Oh, they can do it, and like I said, I just want to make sure that we got the supports that we need to get the education that we.
That's where you guys will come in at. Don't play.
Us or somebody else. I just think like it just has to be that piece if we want people to be successful and understand how to navigate. The taxes, B&O, all those different things. The different labor laws that are going on in Seattle or in King County or in the state, just so folks know what they have to do. To be successful. And if they choose to be successful, they choose to take the education. Yeah. Okay, cool. We had these opportunities. You got the resource, and we combined it with education. Yeah. If you didn't take advantage of it,
Yeah, there's no failing there.
But we can't just give resource and not the education, in my opinion, because if you don't know, okay, I'm gonna default. I'm gonna do these other things in X, Y, and Z. Or I have a higher chance. I'm not gonna say I will. I have a higher chance of not being able to figure out how to navigate this on my own. As an entrepreneur, what is one tip or trick that you've learned that has helped you succeed?
For me, it is just taking a beat before speaking. And I used to bark. I'm so thankful it wasn't a whole bunch of social media back then. I'd be upset. It's like whoop, 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 which is so crazy for me to be in public relations now, and my whole everything has changed. Just because it's to the point where my mom always say, you see two people arguing, nobody's gonna know which one is the fool. And I'm like, Mom, I'm trying to make a point, and especially being a woman in a male-dominated business, it's like, there's no gender in the boardroom to me. When I come to do business, I come to do business. Now, when I leave, I'm all woman. But I mean, here it is. It's how I had to operate, and so I became, hard and figured like, just talking away, and I didn't like it. So even when someone, gets me upset or something doesn't go my way, that's something I would tell young people now, especially young entrepreneurs. Even if you're thinking about music or whatever, they think they're gonna put it on YouTube and be discovered, mad if someone doesn't support them or nominate them. It's like no one owes you anything. That's one thing. The answer no should not break you to your knees. It frustrates me because I have a million of them. But then I think about all I need is one yes, like the the cheeseburger. All I need is one. So if I'm gonna just get one, I'm gonna be pleasant about it, and then it removes the power that I put in the other person, or the business or whatever I'm doing, because they got me out my jacket acting in a way that wasn't necessary. It is what it is. Move on. Next.
Yeah, life lessons. That's a real life lesson right there. Is to not let the little things that seem big in the
Yeah.
moment really get you down. And like you said, nobody really owes you anything,
Yeah.
and that's why
And-
we value relationships, because if you have
Yeah.
relationships, people are going to want to support you. If you have a good, credible name, recognition, then people are going to want to support you just on that, and do what you say you're going to do. Time management, being
Yeah.
likable, those things are going to be
Absolutely.
helpful in making sure that people want to support you.
Absolutely. And everything you think, you don't have to say. Everything doesn't need a response.
For real.
I'm telling you, this is what I have to tell myself too. And on top of that, it's to the point where no one deserves or should have the right to your everything, all your thoughts.
Right.
So have some barrier with that, even with social media, and feeling comfortable, and posting and sharing your personal things. Like, no, those things right there really help me really be able to unplug from the day, work, and keep it separate from home.
Right.
Yeah.
And having good folks around you to
Yes.
balance that. That's the other piece, I think, they sometimes
Nobody
people,
gassing me up over here. I buy my nails.
Yeah,
I
people
mean,
people take social
Yeah.
media as a lot of people take it as reality, right?
Yeah.
But they don't really have the real friends that are
Mm-hmm.
really going to give them the real advice, and they got the equity in a relationship to be able to get that. Hey, I'm going to give you some negative
Yeah.
feedback too, and know it's coming from a place of love. Like,
Absolutely.
hey, you should do this or do that. You know what I mean? So that takes time and energy. Can't do that on the keyboard,
You
right?
really can't. You really can't. You be pissed all day.
So what advice would you give someone who's looking to just get started in business or running an organization or being an entrepreneur? What advice would you, like, what's the advice you would give? I know
Just
you dropped some
start.
gems already, but I'd really,
Just start. Don't overthink it. Easily just go on Google and Google a business plan template, download it, start one by one by the name of your business. You can always go back and change it. Just start. You're going to want to make sure that you have that business plan, so when you do get flustered and you can't talk and you really you're nervous, you can just plop that down or send it in a PDF file and say, hey, this is my idea. But just start, and don't think of research your competition, but don't think of it as competition. Go attach yourself, align yourself to one of those businesses and learn from the inside out. Internships, getting hired, learning, going to school, don't just rush to open up a brick and mortar, really just take your time, because you don't want to jump from career to career, career to career. If this is love and a passion, take the time to nurture it like a newborn baby, and just do it, just start.
that's key advice. Like Google, like there's
Yeah.
so much information out there now. Like you don't got to go to the library. You don't got to
Yeah.
go to college. You can YouTube University. You can Google stuff.
For real.
You can really learn a lot of information and figure things out. There's a lot of stuff that's already there that you can just plug into. There's a lot of information out there that folks can plug into and navigate. You don't got to start from the ground up. So. Before we leave, I want to give you an opportunity to share how folks get in contact with you. It's definitely in the description. But
Okay.
we know people grab information differently, so we want to give you an
Yeah.
opportunity to look right into the camera, talk to the folks, and tell
Okay,
them how
well,
to get,
yes.
get in contact with you.
For me, personally, Instagram and Twitter. She Ready Events on Twitter, and Lady Scribe on Instagram. When it comes to the business and public relations, that's SREmediagroup.com or SeattleSoundMusicAwards.com. And Google too. If you put in Seattle Sound Music Awards, you can really see all the photos over the years. It's been since 2014. We're in our 9th year. Honoring and celebrating, beautiful Black businesses, Black musicians and artists, creatives, and urban music makers. Like, it's a dream come true to be able to honor us.
Well, we appreciate you taking time to come join us and share your knowledge and opportunities and your journey to where you're at now, and wishing you the best.
Thank you so much.
So once again, this is Dre with Brothers United in Leadership Development, Build 206. This is part of our Build Black Wealth Incubator Program, Build Black Wealth Initiative. Until next time, peace.